Hello, everybody. It's Greg Harrelson here with Century 21, the Harrelson Group, and Abe Safa with Century 21, the Harrelson Group. Again, another weekly update on what's going on in the local real estate market in Myrtle Beach. So Myrtle Beach Real Estate TV, once again, every week on Wednesday. Thank you all for continuing to plug in and stay tuned. So, hey, Abe, how are you doing?
I'm good. Greg, how are you?
Good, man. Good. Another busy week. There's a few things that I want to start off on and just share before we talk about the numbers. And one of those is a number that we track, but it's kind of what we call a leading indicator. So there's a leading indicators, and then there's lagging indicators. Lagging indicators is like if I was to give you some numbers on how many closings occurred in the last 3 months, then it's good to know that, but that doesn't necessarily predict what will happen in the next 3 months. It kind of just tells us what happened in the most recent 3 months we just passed through. That's kind of looked at as a lagging indicator. It is definitely something to measure, it's to keep our eyes on, but it's not the best for predicting. Leading indicators are things that, like, these things occur, and the ripple effect of those things could be something, a shift or a change in some aspect of the market in the future. So I want to share with you a leading indicator that I'm just looking at right now, and it's way too early to determine whether or not this is going to be meaningful, but we're starting to see a few things. Agents are starting to talk about having fewer showings on their listings. I'm also hearing people talk about within their real estate websites, whether it be Zillow or personal websites, they seem to be getting less leads. And there seems to be less traffic on the websites right now at the moment. Now, the good thing is we don't just rely on random traffic landing on our websites. We do a lot of promotion and a lot of marketing, so we're able to sustain a high level of lead flow no matter what the fluctuations are in the market. But I have talked to agents that says we seem to be getting a few less showings. We're not getting as many requests for showings. We're getting a few less leads, and there seems to be a little bit less traffic on the website. Now, Abe, I don't know. Is that because we're approaching the holiday season in the next month? Is it because of the election coming up in 2 weeks from now? I actually believe it could be a little bit of both. But just any thoughts on that, Abe?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. So I've definitely seen the decrease in traffic, especially on online showings and views, and then also relating to physical showings. So it has gone down. I personally agree with you on on what the cause is. I don't think it's an overall shift or change in our market right now. I think the demand is still there. I think it's more seasonal. And then especially with the election coming up in a couple of weeks, I think people are kind of just holding back and making major decisions. Whether it's buying or selling, I'm seeing it on both ends where people kind of just want to wait and see what happens for some reason.
Yeah, and I think that some reason is no matter what happens, whether you like the outcome of the election or don't like the outcome of the election, when the election is behind us, at least we kind of know what the future looks like at the near term. In other words, there's a lot of uncertainty today of who is going to be the president. And whenever that's decided, then there will be certainty in who is president. In other words, certainty just will actually, some levels of certainty will creep back into our lives when the election is over. And I think the uncertainty that people are experiencing right now causes them to just kind of like put things on pause. And because it's less than a month away, they can put things on pause and realize, or in their minds think that, oh gosh, it's only a few weeks. And then we'll kind of like go back into the real estate game and start our search again. But, hopefully after the election, this thing kind of moves, it moves forward and we don't have any dips whatsoever, but we will be keeping our eyes on it. And one of the things I think you wanted to mention, they voted so the city council, I guess, met last week. Is that right? Last night?
Horry County.
Yeah. Okay. And
so last night they met and they voted to eliminate the mask mandate that we've had in place. So as of the end of this month, there will be no, on a county level, no mandate for wearing a mask. So that I thought that was significant. Now, what that's got to do with real estate or not, I mean, it could make a difference in traffic a little bit, but I think there's just still way too much demand here in this market. But it's just something I wanted to point out to people in case they were visiting. If people watching, if they have property down here, it's kind of good to know what's happening with the mandate.
Yeah. Well, good. Yeah, that's happened. So, I'm sure there's controversy probably brewing on social media right now, about that subject, and I will stay clear from that. Let me tell you that. But yeah, I do believe, we deal with a lot of people that are from out of state. So, you've gotten those calls. Hey, what's the rules down there? And, is there any place for us to stay? Are the restaurants full capacity, half capacity, mask, no mask? We do kind of get those questions. So that's kind of where we stand right now as a county. And is that, when does that go into effect, or is it
at the end of the month, end of October?
Okay.
So that's really the last thing, because restaurants are back to full capacity, or at least they're allowed to. Yeah. Yes. Now there's been some restaurants that have chosen, they kind of like the distancing that we've had, or whether their views on mask or so what are different. Some restaurants have kind of kept that spacing, but technically there is full capacity available right now for restaurants if they chose to.
Okay, well, good. And I will tell you this, that the sellers that we're working with right now, they're still, at least the ones that I've been working with, we've been helping them. Our days on the market for the listings that I've had have definitely shrunk. Personally, I guess we'll see what the market data says. But for me personally, it seems like the listings that we're taking with the proper marketing, those things are selling fairly quickly. And of course, the buyers are still willing to pay a good price. Selling properties at full price or near full price. So why don't you go ahead and share the numbers?
Absolutely. Yeah. So that hasn't changed. The demand is still there. We're still in a very hot market.
Yes.
So I'll start off with the single family homes as always. This is all single family homes across the board, new construction and resales. 5,349 on the market, 2,768 of them are under contract. So that's over half of every single home on the market is under contract. Mm-hmm. So as you can imagine, it's slim pickings out there for buyers looking for property.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Looking at the resale, a very strong number again, up about a half a percentage point from last week. So 47.09%, 1373 are pending. Mm-hmm. So that's just a number that's still, every time I look at it, just blows my mind that's literally one of every two homes on the market is under contract.
Yeah.
That just, I still can't wrap my head around that, but we see it every single day. You and I both, when we list a home, it's gone quick. There's no delay.
Well, literally, there's no exaggeration. I was talking with agents, throughout the first few days of the week, and we're talking about how about every real estate agent has a few buyers on what we call a waiting list. Mm-hmm. And that's not a waiting list for new construction. That's a waiting list for as soon as something hits the market, they automatically will put an offer in. And some of these buyers, they're so frustrated, as soon as it hits the market, they'll put a offer in sight unseen. And with the contingency that the agent can just video and do a FaceTime, they're not even making it contingent upon having to see it physically. That they'll have their agent go in and do a video of the property and a video walkthrough. So it's that competitive. I know agents, or I know some buyers that they'll write offers, and they'll even put into the offer that if the property appraises below $5,000 below what the agreed upon price is, the buyer agrees to bring an additional $5,000 to the closing table to fill the gap. There's buyers and agents are being creative right now to make sure, we know prices have gone up so significantly on homes that sometimes the appraisers are coming in and appraising them low. And so there's ways that we can protect our sellers by negotiating that the buyer has to agree to fill the gap. And there's usually a ceiling or an amount that they won't go over, but that's just one way we can protect sellers. And we haven't had to do stuff like that in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no question. The leverage right now is all on the seller side.
Yes,
buyers, even when they make an offer right now, they're not coming in low. There is no more, let's start off low and work our way up. They're coming in close to asking, if not asking, because they're tired of missing out on homes.
Yeah, we had a this is true. This happened yesterday. A property. It was a lower price property at $100,000. Oh no, I'm sorry. Listed for $135,000. Offer comes in at $105,000. Now that's kind of not that common to get an offer that low right now, but there was another offer that came in the same day. So we had to tell the both agents that had the buyer, were working with the buyers, that we're in a highest and best scenario. And the offer that was originally 105, they came back second, and they raised their offer to $145,000 above.
Above, wow.
It's like they didn't, like, just the fact that they were threatened by the chance of losing, just the thought of losing the opportunity to buy that property, they raised their offer by $35,000.
Significantly, yeah. And
yeah, they did not want to lose. They did not want to have to go back and do their home search again, or this was a townhome, so they didn't want to have to do another search again.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're definitely seeing that. So yeah, all the leverage right now is on the seller's side.
Yes.
Okay, let's look at the new construction homes. So new construction, again, the same story. It's insane, huh?
Are we going to hit 60?
And you know, if I take out the ones that are to be built, we're in the 75, almost 80% range. I didn't want to put that number up because I know people have a heart attack, but this has to be built already included in it.
Yeah.
So that's an insane number with the to be built included in that. At 57%, almost 60%.
And, you know, it just to reiterate, this is what's fueling the resale market, because, you know, there are people that are buying or relocating to Myrtle Beach for whatever reason, and they need to move into a property. So, you know, new construction to be built is not an option for them. Like, that could be 8 months, 9 months, 12 months down the road before the house is built. And they don't want to have to deal with renting a property until they can their new home construction can be finished. So that's what's pushing so many people to the resale market. Like, they're saying, hey, look, buying a resale is better than renting. And they have to do one or the other because the new construction wouldn't be done for a year.
Yes, I mean, right now, I mean, we try not to pitch on this program. This is about information, but if you've been thinking about selling, this is the time. It really is. I mean, between the really low inventory, between the buyer demand that's out there, between all these buyers missing out on opportunities time after time, I mean, they're paying prices, and then you've got the interest rates as low as they are. This is like, if you've been thinking about upgrading or changing communities or whatever, this is the time to do that.
Yeah, and prices don't go up forever. And it's usually the person that tries to time the market. They want to sell at the tip top. Just remember, you'll never know we're at the top until we've already started sliding down.
No question.
Just remember that. We never know we're at the top until we slide down. And so if we're looking at risk reward, the rewards for being on the market right now are you're selling for a really, really high price. The risk of waiting to try to see if you can get a little bit more, one little shift in the economy is going to have a major impact on property values. And I don't know, I can't predict when that shift's going to come, if that shift's going to come. But the risk is one little shift can change the game overnight. If we all of a sudden hear reports on for sale by owners, or foreclosures are starting to increase all of a sudden, then buyers are going to say, hey, wait, I'm going to just wait until I can buy a foreclosure. And then when the buyer starts waiting, then all of a sudden the prices start coming down. Again, we don't have anything that says that's going to happen. But if you're thinking about selling, you may want to just understand you'll never know if we're at the top of the market until we've already started coming down.
Yeah, it also depends on where you're moving to, right? So if you've say you've been in a community right now for 5 years, you lived in Myrtle Beach, but you still want to stay in town, but you've always wanted to upgrade. Either you need a bigger house or whatever it may be. If you wait till yours goes up some more, guess what? The other home that you're going to be buying is going to go up as well. So then you've got the risk of the market changing. You've got the risk of interest rates going up. So this is the time. This is about as good. I guess when people talk about the perfect storm, this is about the perfect storm to be upgrading your house, if that's within your plans. If it's something you've been thinking about for a while, this would be the time.
No question about it.
All right, let's look at condos real quick. So overall condo market. Greg, did your screen go in and out when I switched that, or is it just on my screen?
Just your screen.
Okay, good. Okay.
Everything looks good.
I've always wondered about that. Okay. So Myrtle Beach condo market, 35% of every single condo on the market right now is under contract. So 3,207 out there, 1,128 on the contract. Again, insane numbers that we haven't seen since the bubble back in 04 and 05 to have that much of the condos being on the contract.
Mm-hmm.
So it's trickling down. I think we talked about this last week where, there's buyers moving here. There's buyers moving into town and they're having a hard time finding homes. So what some of them are doing are buying a townhome or buying a part of a duplex, or even some condos because there's a lack of options for them for homes. Mm-hmm. So whether it's a short-term move for them or whether it's a permanent thing, but it's actually driving some buyer business to the condo market. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Low inventory. And let's look at the oceanfront. Oceanfront over 21%. Mm-hmm. Last week it was 21.08, so a little bit of an uptick from last week. So it continues to get stronger, not getting weaker. It's almost the end of October. I would have thought this number would be going down and the number of units on the market going up, from 1,500. I really expect it to be about 1,800 right now. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of units hitting the market, and the buyer demand is still there. So that's still a very strong number. Yeah.
And I will say there's a lot of confidence in the market. So sometimes confidence, when we're really, really confident, we say, you know what, I'll just wait. I'm going to wait till next year. Again, just remember, we never know when we're at the top until we've actually moved off the top. So be careful on market timing. You got to be careful. And I don't want to cross the line, and say you've got to sell right now, because that's too salesy. I'm not interested in trying to just spread fear so we can get more business. That's not what I want to do. But when I talk to financial advisors and when I share with them the numbers and the data that we're experiencing in the condo markets, most of them look at that and say, gosh, most owners, if they're not getting a lot of use out of it, it's probably a negative cash flow. They ought to really think about selling it off at the top.
Yes, I'll tell you a quick story I had this morning with a condo owner. He owns 2 condos in town in the same building. And we've been talking about him selling. He's kind of on the fence, wants to, but doesn't want to. And then today he tells me, look, Abe, I really think that they're going to go up 20% over the next year or two.
Ooh.
I was like, wow, okay, interesting. Tell me why. So he proceeded to tell me, and he had a couple of good, valid arguments, good points as to, on paper, it could make sense. And I said, well, look, if you strongly believe about it, why don't you pick up a couple of units right now at the lower price if you think they're going to go up that much? And then right away he changes to, well, I don't know for sure, blah, blah, blah. So it's easy to get, the whole point of it is it's easy to get caught up in the emotion of, oh, the market's hot, the market's on fire. Let's just wait a little bit. But just like you said earlier, you're not going to know when the thing turns on you until it's too late. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, wow, what do you mean I can't get my $150,000? That's what you told me 6 months ago.
Yeah. And
then it's too late for a lot of people.
It's like in 2006, I remember people telling me all the time, oh, I'm not going to sell my condo. I'm going to wait. It's going to continue going up. Uh-huh. And then 2007 and 8, the bottom dropped out. And I was telling people, it's like, look, you can make right now you've got a 75% return on your investment if you sell now. Or you could, try to hold and see if you can turn that 75% return into a 95% return. That'd be great if you do, right. But take the risk that thing actually could go to only a 50% return. Needless that I know that it was going to actually turn upside down. Now that's a totally different market, and we had different issues back then. But it's probably why I'm sharing what I'm saying is like, just always be careful when you try to market time. Usually it doesn't work out.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, so it's definitely a different time, like back in 05, 6, and 7. We don't have that inflated demand, But the one thing that kind of keeps me, since we're talking about oceanfront condos, look, I've been here 32 years. You've been here pretty much your whole life. We've been in the hottest 12 or 13 years in real estate market that we've ever seen here, and single family home prices have gone through the roof, but condo prices have gone virtually nowhere. A little bit of increase here and there for certain places. Now, if we can go through a market that hot and not see appreciation in the condo market, that's a clear indicator that there's something wrong there. There's a reason why these prices don't go up. Yeah. And we could go into it in a different episode as to why, but there's a lot of variables. At the end of the day, nothing has changed. Even though the market's been hot, the rental numbers are still low, right, in this market relative to other oceanfront markets in the country. HOA dues are really high. Management fees are high. At the end of the day, when you look at it as an investment, that has not changed. Mm-hmm. Right. So to me, that's what's keeping the prices from going up and following the trend of the single family homes. So, so when sellers tell me, oh no, it's gonna go up, the meat of what causes prices to go up is not there when it comes to condos.
Yeah. And I think we ought to have that conversation. Maybe we'll have that conversation at the beginning of next week's call, but that's a good one to have for sure. And I agree with you.
All right, let's look at land real quick. You're going to see it's still really strong as well, almost 17%. A little bit of an uptick from last week, but it's still going strong. I'm getting phone calls. We don't typically get phone calls, people wanting to buy land, but we're getting more and more of those.
Yeah, we had multiple offers on a lot that we had listed in Waterbridge the other day. I was like, what? But yeah, it's the same thing. So we can continue to repeat ourselves, and we try not to do that or do it as little as we can. But right now the demand is just it's just so strong in the Myrtle Beach market, no doubt about it.
Hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah, well, good. Well, hey, I'm Greg Harrelson again with Century 21, the Harrelson Group. And then, of course, we've got Abe Safa, also Century 21, the Harrelson Group. Here's our contact information right here. We'd love for you to give us a call, whether you're selling, buying, just want some information, just give us a call. You can even text us. This is our cell number. So you can even text us, ask us any questions. We can send you updates, market reports for any particular community that you might have an interest in, with no obligation whatsoever to use us. We just want to do our part for the community, provide very good real estate information out there for you all, so we can make sure that we're the most informed community across the country. So Abe, until next week, thank you so much for helping us out here.
My pleasure, Greg. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.